Well, this is 2 days after I looked at the lawnmower that was there on this rubbish pile. And to make sense of looking at nothing, what was there was the Ozito PXCL MS-018 lithium-ion brushless lawnmower that was made in 2018 and used 18-volt batteries. It wasn't very old, it didn't seem to have very much wear and tear on it. And as I learned from investigating the product review website, a Karen from Queensland loved this little mower because she was able to mow her lawns during summer times at least 3 times a week. That is her couch lawn at least 3 times a week. And Karen said to us we had to use our common sense whenever purchasing these types of consumer goods. All I can say is thank God for the Karens of the world, and we'll go back to what's not on the rubbish pile again. It's gone, someone's picked it up. But look what's appeared. It's a stick vacuum cleaner, and this is quite a curious find. When I first saw this, I saw this section here and I thought maybe it was a Dyson. I saw that sticking up out of the box. Then I look at this part here, that's not a Dyson, it is Kogan. And a lot of this is very, very similar to what you would see on a Dyson. Now looking at that there's not much wear and tear on that brush. So that's telling me how much work this device has done. I look for scratches on things as well. That tells you how much work something's done. It looks like the whole kit and caboodle is here. And this still works if I can turn this thing on. And what's most alarming here is, just listen, there's basically next to no suction from this. Listen carefully here. You can hear it working a bit. There's no sucking sound going on with my fingers going over that section there. That should be sucking like all fury. If it was a Dyson, it'd be trying to pull my fingers in. Nothing. Plain hopeless. Yeah, so I wonder how many people have got something like this. It's got this sort of funky shape going on top here. Let me turn this off. I'm that curious, I'm actually going to open this up and just see exactly what's going on here. I had to do a big knock sideways to release these components. This is your dust collecting area. Okay. So that doesn't tell me very much, but it's this section here which is sort of curious, and there's like a spiral section here. You know, this is sort of nothing like a Dyson. And then in here, there's like a strange sort of filter going on there, and maybe that's the problem. I'm working single-handedly here. I'm just trying to get this piece off. I think it does spin and comes off. There we go. Oh, okay. Okay, there's the problem. I can tell you one thing, a Dyson stick vacuum cleaner will not have this build-up of gunk. Look at this. This is just some sort of wacko pad thing, and that is completely blocked up because it hasn't got those funky Dyson cylinder things that separate the fine dust away and stops this from happening. I'm sounding like a Dyson salesperson, but I'm not. I'm just pointing out to you what the rubbish is, and this is rubbish. And I think if I get rid of this, okay, and clean this off here, even that's all caked up with stuff, we might get some sucking action going on. Okay, that comes off as well, so you could clean that. Okay, I think I can get back to some sucking action if I get this back together. I'm actually having trouble working this out. I've got to get that spun around to lock. Oh, and it's very hard. Single-handedly, I am getting this back together. Just let me free up 2 hands, or should I be like that, 2 hands. There's some information about this device. Maybe that's going to help you understand what this is. And now that I've got this section off, and this is going into the motor that does the sucking, you can hear it sucking there. Okay, so hopefully we'll have this thing sort of working a bit better now that I've got rid of that piece of nightmare right there. Okay, I've sort of got it back together. I'm missing whatever happened up here. There's a clip here, but I can demonstrate something. Okay, it's going to suck itself together. Now listen to this now. Okay, we've got some suction back. It's not great, but at least there's something there. But in seeing this on the rubbish pile, it hasn't done that much work. I've just explained to you why you buy Dyson and don't mince with anything else. I mean, the problem with this system here is, very simply, it's that there. That's going to give you no joy at all. That's going to just give you a life of hardship when cleaning. How many times have I said the rubbish piles talk to me? They talk to me when I see something like this. It hasn't done very much work. It doesn't look like it's very old. You know why it's out in the rubbish pile? Because it's nothing but rubbish. You're going to blow up your money every time you touch something like this. This here is a prime example why you buy a Dyson stick vacuum cleaner and nothing else. Let me throw in an insert part here, and maybe the best example of how a good stick vacuum deals with dust is take a look at my Dyson V8. I'll just do a quick disassembly here, gently of course. Oops, that part's on the ground, and to get to the dust I pull that up and hopefully it'll come binning out at me. I hope. I have to bang it round. Okay, here we are. Here we go. There. Always treat your Dysons nice and gently like I do. Let's examine this dust pile. And please let me say, this is not an ad for Dyson, but you need to see the way a Dyson deals with dust, and it explains why the one I just found in the rubbish pile is croaked and blocked. Dysons have got this way of separating the really fine dust. I'll get rid of the bigger stuff here. Oh, crikey, see that really fine cloud of yuckies? That's what Dysons separate away, and they don't get clogged up by it. And in fact, here's another clump of, there's a lot of pet hair. We've got lots of pets. Okay, see that really fine stuff? All sorts of yuckies in that. Let me pull that aside as well. So that's 2 clumps of bigger stuff. And now we're getting into the fine nitty-gritty. And it's this really fine dust that doesn't block up in a Dyson, but you'll find it's the thing that causes havoc with your other cleaners. Okay, it's that really fine dust. It's like talc to feel. It's really fine particles, and it always seems to be the bugbear of basically anything that's not a Dyson. You can see my fingers there, that really fine stuff. That would have been the stuff clogging the other vacuum cleaner we just had a look at in the rubbish piles. Dysons deal with dust in a really nice way. I think I've had this Dyson V8 for about 5 years. It's onto its second battery, which isn't a Dyson battery. This is the section up here that does all the magical fagical on a Dyson. Often you'll see other vacuum cleaner manufacturers emulate this shape, but they haven't got the cones going on inside that does the magical fagicals. And if I cycle this a few times without just being closed, I get a really fine dust pile. Just let me cycle it. I've got to use 2 hands to do this. Just give me a sec. If I start doing this, the really fine dust up inside the cones will start deploying on the table here. Okay, let's take a look at the really methy stuff. Okay, that stuff came out from there, and it's the real horror story of dust that really does clog up your cleaners. Look at that really fine dust that Dysons can separate away without getting clogged up. I've certainly made a bit of a mess here, and unfortunately a lot of people can't get their head around a Dyson because it comes down to the cost of these units. They are very expensive vacuum cleaners, but they are very good, and it really gets to the whole thing, you know, buy cheap, buy twice. A lot of that goes on in the vacuum cleaner industry. I see a lot of examples of it when I look at the rubbish piles, and the best thing now is I can come along and clean up the mess I've made, so make a bit of noise this, with my Dyson V8. I'm going to set it to max suction. Here we go. I can also come in and get that bigger pile of stuff as well. You notice in vacuum cleaner shops, I'm not sure how much you'll hear me, but they never give you an example of them sucking up the rubbish with a Dyson. I wonder why. Okay. So that stuff there. Okay. Done and dusted. One of the best ads for the Dyson company is finding this sort of rubbish thrown out on the rubbish pile. Sadly, I see it all the time. I had a look online in relation to this Kogan Stick Vac. I couldn't exactly work out the year this comes from. There's a number of very similar models that were on the market and they're all discontinued now. I found some information on how to look after one of these Kogan Stick Vacs, and via the product reviews of what people are saying about this stick vac, that is people who've experienced this style of stick vac, I get a feel for, number one, why they purchased it, And number 2, why it's a failure. There's a lot of reviews generated in relation to this style of product, but we're only going to read a couple of them. I'm going to start with a positive review, and they were hard to find. It's by Daniel McCulloch. It's a verified review, this one. Kogan T7 cordless, like a Dyson for a fraction of the cost. I purchased this vacuum cleaner direct from Kogan mainly due to its price/performance ratio. My friend also had one and always raved about it. Down to business. This vacuum works and operates exactly like a high-end Dyson model. The only difference I would say is the battery time, it's slightly less, and the weight, tiny bit heavier. What I noticed with the one that was thrown out was components mimicked a Dyson, but it sucked nothing like a Dyson. I'm writing this review based off my experience within my home. I have a carpet and laminate throughout, 2 stories. I'm able to clean the entire house off one charge and still have some left over. That contradicts what he said about the battery time just earlier in this review. This vacuum cleaner isn't too loud. You know why? Because it's frickin' gutless. It moves along the floor extremely well and it sucks up everything. It's also super easy to clean and empty. Let's go back to the picture of one of the clogged filters from this style of cleaner. Does that look easy to clean? It takes just to pop the tags to take the filter out and empty the inside. Being Mr. Obvious here, this is nothing like a high-end Dyson. A Dyson doesn't have that filter that gets choked up that makes this cleaner dysfunctional. The charging station it comes with holds all your attachments and is wall mountable, meaning you can stash this away in your cupboard or under stairs, like me. Isn't he a smart cookie? In all, I would recommend this vacuum over a Dyson purely because of the price and performance. Now, this is the scary part. This Kogan Stick Vac is in the vicinity of being 8 to 10 times cheaper versus the latest version of a Dyson. A trick to buying an awesome Dyson is very simple. Wait for the model to be 3 to 4 years old. You'll find the price is going to come down a lot. And then you're going to go in and buy something which is not only a good price, but has got amazing performance. Anyway, just remember this extremely positive review because we're now going in a totally different direction. Adam in Tasmania writes this: worst stick vacuum cleaner. Published 3 years ago, 1 star. This vacuum from box was terrible suction both on hard floors and carpet. We once had a cheap Kmart vacuum and that worked better than this. Definitely don't waste your money. Wow, that's so different versus what Daniel said about the Kogan Stick Vac. Let's read another one. This one's from Lizzie Weezy. I hope I said that right. Do not waste your money. Published 4 years ago. Wow, what a garbage vacuum. I'd say it sucks, but it just doesn't. The vacuum wouldn't suck a grain of sand at the beach. Once you attach the stick, it's absolutely useless. And note here the year 2018, and there's a price there of $129. Here's a review from Maria at Perth. A disappointment with 2 stars. I'm not going to read the whole thing, I'm just going to pick out bits here. I purchased this cordless vacuum and it worked well on my hard wood floor as a quick pickup in the kitchen. It goes on saying the dirt was brought in by the puppy, and then it says unfortunately it stopped working after 3 months. Then there was a problem with the head area, which I don't quite understand what she says there. But going down here it says the suction is non-existent. It drops the rubbish back on the floor. It's a shame. I only had it for 3 months. While $120 wasn't expensive, it should really last longer. Date purchased September 2018. I highly suspect why Maria's vacuum suction was non-existent. It goes back to that filter system. Another thing I really picked up from this review was when Maria said this, while $120 wasn't expensive. Yet, someone like Maria might say, oh, $500 is too expensive for a Dyson. This seems to be a constant conundrum in relation to vacuum cleaner prices versus quality. There's some other reviews here. You can pause and read them if you like, or if you can see them. There's one last one I'll read, and it's a bit of a comical one, but it's worth a read. It's by James D. It says, not a Dyson. It's got 2 stars. After my Dyson died, I bought this at a recommendation of a friend. I completely regret my purchase. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with my model specifically. However, the battery sucks. 12 to 15 minutes on a 4-hour charge. And it makes it pretty much unusable if you want to vacuum your house. Might be great if you have a very small place though. Kogan would not do a return. Purchased August 2019 for $160. Okay, to finish off the video, I did take a look at the Kogan website. They've got much newer models these days. It's like their version 11 of their stick vacs. I'm hoping they've got around the obvious choke point in the cleaner that we saw in this video. But what's remarkable is this cleaner looks very, very similar to a Dyson model. There's a lot of Dyson-esque looks to what's going on with this Kogan version 11 of their stick vacs. The Kogan stick vacs are a fraction of the cost of a Dyson, and even at Kogan.com, I can see the Dyson V11, which isn't the latest model as I'm making this video, but take a look at the pictures here, and at a glance, the Dyson looks just like the Kogan. I could slip in a picture of the Kogan vacuum cleaners, and you would probably never know. In fact, when I looked at the pictures of Kogan's version of a V11, it looks very impressive. I'm very curious to see how this machine works. Hey, if I'm lucky, Mr. Kogan might send me out one, but I'm gonna put it up against a Dyson V8 because I can't afford anything newer than that in the Dyson realm. And the Kogan pricing looks very easy on the eyes.